Welcome back to COG Podcast, Season 2, Episode 21.
Indeed, and we're gonna just go right into it this week.
No intro, no
intro,
small
no
talk.
nothing.
All business this week.
No, actually, we can roll the intro. There we go. All right, now. You see that. All right, now that beautiful intro has passed through, we have a lot to talk about this week. Starting in the back with the goalkeepers, right? Mm-hmm. Lots of big goalkeeper stuff has happened this week. We're gonna start out with Liverpool's goalkeeper Alisson, who has had the worst week in his career.
Worst week in any goalie's career since Karius.
Yeah, honestly, another Liverpool player. I mean, I rate the dude so much. He's a great goalie, but like, first game, 2 mistakes. Second game,
2 mistakes back to back, and the same mistake.
And they lost 4-1, and you could probably say, I mean, even Phil Foden's goal at the end was savable. It went
really.
Did you see the angle?
I didn't see the angle. I just saw like the main.
Yeah, so it looked like it rocketed in, but it went Alisson had his hands up.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It literally went past.
He put his hands up like after the ball. Yeah, okay.
It was like he could have saved it. It was a very hard shot, but he could have. That one I'm not gonna, you can't get on him too much because every keeper has those moments. Yeah. But the first 2, he passed it to Man City and they scored. Literally just passed it to him, which is like, I understand he's a keeper, but that's why keepers these days need to be more like Manuel Neuer, really good with their feet. And Alisson's good with his feet too. He's not as good as Ederson with his feet, but he's good with his feet.
Yeah, I feel like Alisson, when you're like making the kind of argument between Ederson or Alisson, it's definitely Alisson can make better saves, but Ederson is just so good with his feet. Like he could play midfield.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, so the Man City game, he made 2 mistakes. And then we go over to the Leicester game. Mm-hmm. And they're up 1-0 in the 78th minute, I think. And they concede 3 and lose 3-1, which is continuing Liverpool's bad form. And another one of those goals, did you see this one?
I saw mistake? He kind of went
So the ball's being hit over the top. He comes out of his box to one-time scissor kick it away.
When a center back is right there.
Yeah, no, center back's right next to him. And obviously, because that's a very difficult task, he hits it completely to the side.
I feel like he was trying to make up for last game. He's like, okay, I'm going to have this incredible volley clearance. No, I think it did the exact opposite.
Yeah, no, it went to the side, and then they just walked it in.
Yeah.
And that started a stream of 2 more goals, which continued Liverpool's losing form. And
Klopp in the post game was like, he was asked like, "Are you conceding the title?" He's like, "Yes."
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that. And after you were done speaking, I was about to say, I think Liverpool's title is gone.
Mm-hmm. And do you think? Do you think it was? If your coach, like in the press conference, said, "Yeah, we're not winning the title," like it is obvious, but at the same time, do you want him to just be like, give up like that?
Well, it's kind of like Frank Lampard or Pep or whatever you hear from all these guys, Jose Mourinho. What you hear from them in the press is not what they're going to go say to the team. So if Klopp went and said, no, the title's not gone, and then they didn't win the title, that would look kind of bad. I don't know. In my opinion, he has to be more realistic with the press. And like, as a professional in the game, you can understand that most likely you have just given the title away. Because Man City don't look like they're going to drop points anytime soon. But there's things that can happen. So, then you just keep playing. I don't know if the players really worry about what the coach says to press.
That's true. I just thought it was like, you never really see coaches. Like, usually if that question's asked, they're like, oh, you never know, it's crazy season, whatever, like that. But he just like flat out said, yeah, we're not going to win it.
Well, Frank Lampard said, stop talking about title. Remember when he was with Chelsea and people were like, oh, title contenders. He was like, guys, stop. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
So
I think it's just another way to like I mean, maybe it does motivate the players by being like, okay.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's just, I think after that game, Jurgen Klopp was in a very bad mood.
Well, and his mother just passed away. So,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that could be affecting his coaching right now?
I think there's just a lot going on in his life, and I don't know if the poor form is all down to that or it's just not helping at all. So,
I mean, Liverpool's great reign in the Champions League and in the Premier League has to come to an end. I think when they get Van Dijk back, though, they could continue to be really good. I don't know. I doubt they'll win the Champions League this year just because they don't have the squad depth.
Yeah.
But they'll be good next year. They got hit with some bad injuries this year. And honestly, you have to give him credit and Klopp credit. He has pulled some players from absolutely nowhere. And they've done decent in the Prem. It's not like they were horrendous, you know? They're all right in the Prem. So, I mean, you have to give Klopp credit, but unfortunately I do think that this past week and the past few weeks have really determined what's going to happen with the title. And I see Man City running away with the title, but you never know. On the other side of not the other side, but 8 positions down from Man City. Someone expected to be on the other side in Aston Villa have maybe the best goalkeeper in the league right now.
Based on form, I'd say. I mean, Martinez, what's his first name?
Emiliano.
Yeah.
Just call him Emmy.
Yeah. He has pulled off some incredible saves. He's kind of just a leader in the back from the games I've seen. Obviously he left. I mean, it's a cool story. He was at Arsenal for so long, never got his chance, did well for Arsenal for a couple games, and then he decided, okay, I want to leave. I've proved myself. I want to play like every week. He goes to Aston Villa, which he said is a step up from Arsenal, which actually has proved to be correct, which is kind of crazy after last season when Villa almost got relegated. But, I mean, it's proved well for him.
No, it has, totally. And one thing I just can't wrap my head around is, it's like this stat with Ben Foster where he has made the most saves in the Premier League history. But it's hard because to be a good goalie, you kind of have to have a bad defense in front of you.
You have to have shots on you.
So I mean, he's in a very good position for a goalie right now to get saves and to get clean sheets because he's technically getting clean sheets in games where it matters, and he's making a lot of good saves, but he also doesn't have the best defenders in front of him, which is allowing for that. Like, if you look at Ederson, who we're going to talk about next, he has the capability to be one of the best like shot stoppers in the world, but you could put me in net for Man City and I probably wouldn't be troubled.
It's true. I mean, that is kind of like, okay, how do you judge a goalie, especially when they're in the top teams? It's hard to say, oh, he's the best goalie just because he has a bunch of clean sheets or he's conceded the least amount of goals. I think a lot of that is down to the defenders, because if you stick Ederson in Sheffield United's team, I doubt he'll be saving.
Will he be better than Aaron Ramsdale?
Like, I don't know how much better he'll be.
With his feet, yes. Ederson's got the best feet out of all goalkeepers.
But I think the quality of chances that the lower teams give up to the opposing attackers, I doubt Ederson would make that much of a difference.
And like the big saves that people talk about are the diving ones, like Coutinho, like De Gea's save on Coutinho, 5 years ago, where it's curling into the top corner and you save it. But I bet you could ask every single Premier League goalie and they'd say a one-on-one is 1,000 times harder than saving one of those because you have no time to react.
Yeah.
And so the big teams concede less goals like that, right? So, and then moving over to probably the most informed goalie in the Premier League. He was rumored to take penalties for Man City. And
he almost got a goal and an assist in the recent game if he would have taken that penalty.
Yeah, if he had taken the penalty over Rodri, he would have hopefully gotten a goal. And he got an assist off of Ilkay Gundogan. And I think he's performing well. He's keeping balls out of the back of the net. Not in every game, but they're scoring enough like Man City used to, where it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the ball over the top was very good, but at the same time, I think Gundogan's touch was a little bit better. And Gundogan is on fire.
He embarrassed Davinson Sanchez.
Embarrassed. He fell over and slid.
It was Messi versus Boateng.
It was. No, 100%. Yeah. And yeah, so moving over to Ilkay Gundogan, it's hard for me to see what's going to happen with him in the future because he is the most informed player in the Premier League right now, scoring, I think, 3 more goals than anyone since December as a midfielder. I
think he has 9 goals in 9 games.
Exactly. As a midfielder, that's crazy. That's like Bruno Fernandes at the beginning of his United spell. So, yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen with him because he started playing when De Bruyne was out. He's been at City. He was Pep's first signing. And he's been at City since Pep's arrival, so 4 years ago or 3 years ago. And he's always been just I'll sub in or I'll play 8. He's never been an attacking player. And he's kind of just been box to box. I'll help out the team when I can. Played in about a third of every campaign's games, maybe a little bit more. If you count Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, all that. So he's been good to the club, but he was definitely more valued when he was over at Klopp's Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
And when they won the Champions League. And we haven't seen that kind of performance from him until now. The question is, when Kevin De Bruyne gets back, do you drop Ilkay Gundogan? And then if you drop Ilkay Gundogan, will he leave on a transfer because he thinks he can perform better now?
Yeah, it's, 16-game winning streak or something that they have going right now, minus 6 games without De Bruyne, the best player in the league, in my opinion, is insane. And Foden has stepped up as well. He hasn't.
Foden's looking good.
Foden and Gundogan have completely changed the look of that team. When De Bruyne was in it, you didn't see either of them playing as well as they do now.
Yeah.
It will be really hard. I think De Bruyne still walks into that starting 11 no matter what, but I don't know how you're going to move Gundogan from that position or, Foden out wide more or into a not as good position. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because if you think about it right now, Gundogan and Foden are playing this well in the Prem. It feels like they're undroppable. I would definitely say that. But then once Aguero gets fit, De Bruyne gets fit, then how do you play those two? And then on top of that, you have guys like Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, Gabriel Jesus, right? These guys aren't going to get minutes then.
No.
How do you work around this? Some of them have to go because Foden was the only reason it was able to work is because Gundogan wasn't playing this well, and Foden was a player who didn't need to get minutes because he wasn't fully proven yet. Everyone knew he had potential, but now he's performing at a level where it's he needs minutes.
Yeah, this has always been City's good problem the past 2 or 3 years now,
mm-hmm.
is their bench and their second team could win the Premier League besides all of their starters. They have pretty much 2 squads in the club that could win the league.
Yeah.
That's how much depth they have. But now, I could easily see Bernardo Silva and Riyad Mahrez walking this summer and transferring somewhere else because, Ferran Torres as well.
Yeah.
They just brought him in. He's young.
There's no reason.
There's no reason.
All of these guys are great players, but there's no reason.
I think they do have to sell 2 forwards. Maybe, depending on...
But Ferran Torres they won't, because you don't
they won't.
someone in and sell him.
I think it will be Mahrez and or Bernardo Silva.
Where do you think they'll go? I would think that they would go... They wouldn't go over to France, because that would be back to France for Bernardo Silva. He's not going to do that. No. I think they're better than... Unless they get to go to PSG, which could be a replacement for Angel Di Maria, who might be on his way to Spurs.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know. It's always the same clubs, to be honest. Every transfer winners, it's Arsenal or Chelsea or someone like that.
Yeah.
I could see Mahrez going to Arsenal, maybe. I don't know.
The problem is, I can see Chelsea signing people if they hadn't have spent so much money this past transfer, or not January, but this past summer. And now I can't see them signing people for another 2 years.
I mean, we're going to talk about Upamecano later, but they were in the race for him as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they're honestly going to still buy 2 or 3 players this transfer window, or in the summer. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams shift, because I feel like we're entering a time, we always are, but there's a lot of players that not only teams need to bring in, but teams need to get rid of. Mm-hmm. You know, like a lot of players that need to go. Pogba wants to leave United. You have those guys on Man City. You have, I mean, I feel like Bayern's the only team in the world that people don't want to leave. People are just like, no, I'll stay. Yeah,
they're like, I'm fine winning 5-0 every game and then winning the Champions League.
Yeah, no, they're set. They're a very good place to be. Robert Lewandowski has it pretty good.
Mm-hmm. The amount of players he has assisting him is... How could you not score 40 goals?
Exactly. And it's just a constant rotation of good players assisting him. The only people who I don't understand why they don't get mad is like Serge Gnabry, Kingsley Coman, Leroy Sané, because they're all young enough where they can, and they're good enough where they can perform anywhere, and you can't play all 3 of them.
Yeah,
and if you do, then you can't play Thomas Muller, and that's kind of iffy.
Yeah, I mean they are kind of City in that way. That they do.
Yeah, they are.
Still have that kind of rotation that they have too many good players, and I mean, but none of them seem to be unhappy.
None of them are unhappy, and they just won the sextuple, I think, is what it is, which is ridiculous. We'll get to that later also. Lots of stuff to talk about this week. But moving on from that whole Man City debacle and everything, mm-hmm. I'm just going to talk about the 2 things that probably are the least favorite on the entire podcast, and that's the Saints and Brighton. The Saints have continued losing form, losing again today.
6 straight losses, not including the FA Cup win.
We don't need to talk about it anymore if you don't want to.
I mean, yeah, I think... I don't like to use VAR or refereeing as an excuse, but I think
when you lose 6 straight games, you can kind of throw out a couple excuses.
I mean, a part of it is there has been a extremely, arguably wrong call every single loss we've had in that run. This recent game, Bertrand, Nelson Semedo just fired it right at Bertrand, who was maybe 10 feet away from him, and he turned and did this, and it hit his arm like that.
Stupid.
I don't know how that's called, and then Cash's for Villa when he had his arm out like that. We already talked about that a couple of weeks ago, how that wasn't called. And then in the same game, Dendoncker had pretty much the same thing. It hit his arm in the box, and they didn't call it. So, I mean, we have had... Besides the 9-0 loss, we have had very close games.
It's a tradition now, though.
Yeah. We had to get one in there,
Yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't count. But, we have had 1 or 2 goal losses where we could have gotten back into the game if not for just kind of wrong calls in general. But
that's the name of the game with virtual video assistant referees.
Yes.
But you keep playing. Because why not?
Well, you can't really stop. It's a business.
Brighton and Burnley, on the other hand, have really taken it up a notch the past few weeks. Mm-hmm. Brighton continue their run of form, tying 1-1, getting a point, now 6 games, 12 points. So, 2 points a game. If you can continue that for an entire Premier League season, you'll get Champions League. So good for the form that we're in. Obviously, we won't get Champions League if we continue that now because it's a little too late. But I like that form. I would like to see us continue with our confidence. I mean, this past game, we looked so confident the whole time. We had 12 shots. And so I don't know how we didn't score. But, I mean, we look good. We look confident. GP is happy. It's all something we love to see. And Burnley look really good. Have you seen Matthew Loughton playing?
I saw his goal.
Dude, take the goal away. Best right back in the Prem right now. Best right back in the... I guarantee you. The guy is unreal. Every time he touches the ball, something happens.
I was watching.
Like, you could touch the ball in his area, in his box. Something would happen on the other side.
I was watching that Crystal Palace game. Obviously, he scored that great goal, but I was just looking at their team, and I realized, like, all of them could be brothers. They all have the exact same haircut, the exact same, like, build. They're all just built white dudes.
Except for Dwight McNeil.
Yeah.
He's the only one.
And he's, like, the only one who's below 30, I feel like, in the squad. I mean, and it's worked. With Sean Dyche, he's gotten out of that team what many managers could not, probably, if they tried. I think it is frustrating because they don't really play soccer how you would want them to play.
Yeah.
But, I mean, their work rate is definitely admirable.
They don't play it how you want them to play always, but you have to give them credit the past few weeks. I mean, especially that game against Crystal Palace, they were playing some good football.
Yeah.
If you watch the game, they were playing some good football. It's not Man City football, but still, they're getting the points. They're getting good goals. It's not like they're just kicking it up. I mean, they can't because they don't even have a fast forward.
I mean, Ashley Barnes has been their forward the past 5 years.
It's pretty much just work it wide and then see if something happens. And it's been working. And Dwight McNeil is someone they should build the team around. Or he should leave. If he leaves, where do you think he should go?
I mean...
Arsenal.
Yes, literally. Like Arsenal. I don't see him going anywhere else. I mean, maybe a lower team like Everton or Villa or something.
I can see Everton.
Yeah. I mean...
Playing with Richarlison,
he still hasn't proved himself that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only because he's the best dribbler on the team.
Yep.
But that's not saying much because they don't have many flair players. So
they're all good, but they're not. Like you said, they don't have a single flair player.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. they get the points, they get the job done, and then go home.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, I'm going to head over to our Discord, which, if you're not a part of yet, you have to be a patron to be on the Discord. But if you're not a patron, go become a patron. Why not? It's $2.50 a month, which is quite a bit of money. But
why would you not want to talk to us?
Because you can talk. We now have a new system in play where you get access to the Discord if you can link your Patreon account to Discord, which is pretty easy. There's steps online. I also sent an email out to everyone on our email list and to all of our patrons on how to do it. But it's pretty easy. You just connect it, and then you get put straight into our Discord server, which is just a community of all of it's us, all the workers for Class on Grass, and then all of our patrons. And it's just a place for us to chat, talk, do whatever. We have multiple different chat rooms. We have footy talk, podcast suggestions, podcast questions, announcements, stuff like that. So yeah, head over, become a patron. If you're already a patron, head over and join our Discord. Why not? So from FC Growing Pool, we had a few questions in the podcast questions server. First one was, we're going to kind of cover the very first one, just so you know, FC Growing Pool, we're going to cover that one with the other one.
Great name, by the way.
Yeah, great name. Unbelievable name. But starting with his second question, Justin or DCL, whose loss affects their team more? Justin with an ACL injury, and DCL has been out and in and out and in and out and in.
I was going to say, I mean, he just played in that FA Cup game against Spurs and scored, so, but I do know he has been kind of 1 week he's injured, 1 week he's not. So I think you do have to go with Justin. He's been kind of their breakout defender for Leicester, besides Fofana, who's also been very good.
Yeah.
To the point where he has been in the running in a lot of fans' eyes as a Euro squad player. I mean, yeah, he's very strong as a wing back. He gets up. He's gotten a couple of goals this season. He's just really impressed, and I think it's very harsh to lose him.
Yeah, no, and he's changed the shape of that Leicester side, allowing Ricardo Pereira to get up the field more and play in a right mid spot, taking Albrighton off, who is a good player, but he's not going to get up and down the wing like Ricky P will. So having Ricky P not be able to not just sit in right back, having him be able to move up and play Justin there has made their team a lot more dynamic, and now they won't be able to do that, which means that they're going to be attacking from the left side a ton, and it's going to be very easy to read. So that's the biggest thing for me, just looking at game analysis. It's Justin unlocked a whole new, not him specifically with how good he is, although he's amazing, but him being able to fill that position unlocked a whole new side to that Leicester team. So that loss is going to be, sorely missed from Leicester fans. DCL is one of the best strikers in the Premier League, but for one, he's not out for the season, and for two, they have other players that can score. Richarlison.
Yeah, he hasn't been scoring recently, and you kind of have seen...
I mean, he scored that one game when he was back in the Prem.
Yeah, but not like at the beginning of the season. He was getting a hat trick every game. But, I mean, Everton have kind of dropped form as Calvert-Lewin has also stopped scoring. But at the same time, I've seen Richarlison put away some goals, and when they do win, it's not always because Calvert-Lewin has scored. So, I don't know. I think, like we said, I think it's bigger to lose Justin for the rest of the season than it is for Calvert-Lewin kind of being inconsistent with his game time.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%. Moving to FC Growingpool's second question, which he put on the chat yesterday, is the FA Cup that important for all teams? Spurs starters fatigued for extra time only to lose, and then big weekend match against Man City days later. The thing about the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, Champions League for bigger teams, Europa League for bigger teams, it happens every year. So it's teams are really used to it. That's also why you see the big teams that play in Champions League and Europa League playing their under-23s in a lot of FA Cup games and Carabao Cup. It is important because of tradition and because every single league in Europe has it. It's not just England. So you have Copa del Rey, you have DFB Pokal for Germany, you have the
it's like Coupe de France or
Coupe
something.
de France, and then in Serie A, is it the Coppa Italia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have all of them have it, and they all also have a League Cup as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not that it's so important for the big teams, but football is about not just the teams like Man City and Liverpool and the Brightons and Southamptons and the Brentfords and, Wickhams. It's about the teams in the lower divisions, the teams in non-leagues and the teams in League Two, right? You need them to keep football going. There's a pyramid for a reason. The bottom of the pyramid needs to be strong. So giving teams like that an opportunity to play in a tournament with everyone is super great. It's really good for football, and I think it brings a lot. It brings a vibe that you don't really get from anywhere else. So I think they're really important. But no, teams don't need to play their best players. Although, we're going to talk about this later, Bayern just won the sextuple. And that is a huge achievement. That means they won every single trophy they could. DFB Pokal, which is their FA Cup. They won their Carabao Cup. They won their league. They won the Champions League. They won the Super Cup, which is Champions League versus Europa League winner. And they just won the Club World Cup. So the only team, I can just cover that right now, the only team ever to do that in the past was Pep's Barca with Alexis Sanchez, Leo Messi, Carlos Puyol, Javier Mascherano, Xavi, Iniesta, like the best Barca team ever. That was pre-MSN even. That was an unreal team. So they were the only last team to do that, and that is a huge achievement. So I think they're all the trophies are necessary because it really defines whether you're a great team, a good team, or an average team. Excuse me, an average team. And so it's just another thing for teams to overcome. I mean, injuries are gonna happen. It's not just this year; they're gonna happen always. Fantasy is one of those things where it's gonna annoy fantasy players because FA Cup games don't matter for fantasy. Carabao Cup doesn't matter, but it's just more games. And one thing I do want to touch on though is if you were to win every single game, You everything. So you'd have to win the year before so you could play the extra games against the winners, right? Like the Super Cup and stuff. But if you win every game that year and you had won stuff last year also, you'd play like 72 games, which is a game every 5 days. It is a lot. So, yes. But the thing to think about is it's 72 or like 45 or 50. So you cut down on like 20 games if you're not that good because you don't get in the Champions League.
Yeah. I mean, a trophy's a trophy, to be honest.
Yeah, Spurs don't even have any. They won all these tournaments.
I'm in favor of playing, if not your best team, maybe 3 or 4 rotation players. Yeah. But like, it's a trophy. Like if you're telling me Sheffield United, Fulham, West Brom don't care about
they do 100%
winning the FA Cup even if they get relegated. The best game
that I had ever watched as a Brighton fan was a semi-final of the FA Cup against Man City. We lost.
Yeah.
That was the coolest game we've ever had.
Yeah, and when Southampton were in the Carabao Cup final and they lost 3-2, that was still like incredible because Gabbiadini scored a brace and we almost we almost
Gab
won.
Right here.
Yes, right there. I just think it is harder for the big teams to care as much because they are in many different tournaments. I think they'd obviously want to win the Champions League more than the FA Cup.
Of course.
But at the same time, that kind of loses the intensity in the FA Cup if you're playing just rotation players and, you lose and you're like, okay, whatever.
You can't ask them to play their starters every time, though, just because of how many games they have. But here's the thing, their rotation players are going to win anyway.
Yeah, and I think, as the question said, is it important for all teams? I think it's important in the sense that if you win it, you've won a trophy that season.
Like Arsenal last year, the FA Cup saved them.
Yeah, they won the Community Shield and the FA Cup.
Yeah, that saved them. And literally no one cares about those trophies.
Yeah, that's 2 trophies.
Exactly.
Did Liverpool just win the league? Yeah. Technically, Arsenal won more trophies than Liverpool. I think, it is a trophy, and I think all 20 of those teams would gladly take a season where they maybe didn't perform as well in the league but won a trophy than they did the other way around.
Yeah. I saw something that was like some footballers rating trophies, right?
Mm-hmm.
World Cup came first, and then it was Champions League, then it was Premier League, then it was like FA Cup and stuff like that. But some of them had some different, some of them put FA Cup above Premier League because it's just the style of the tournament, it's inclusive of everyone gets opportunity to show how they can do and all that. But I just thought it was cool to see because they ranked them in such a logical way. If you win the FA Cup or the Premier League, you are champions of England. If you win the Champions League, you are champions of Europe. If you win the World Cup, you are champions of the world. Right? So it seems so logical, but so many players, so many people have but I prefer to win the Champions League. Oh, I prefer to win the Premier League over the FA Cup. Same trophy, Yep. It's the same trophy. You just take out some of the teams. In the FA Cup, you have less or more bad teams, but it doesn't mean that you should still be able to win. So I don't know. Just looking at it logically, they're all important. They all bring something to the game that the other ones don't, and at the end of the day, them playing more games gives us more stuff to talk about.
That's true. More content. Thank you for the questions, though.
Exactly. Thank you so much for the questions. Anyone else, feel free to get onto our Patreon. If you have any questions about how to get onto the Discord and connect them, please let us know. You can send us an email, send us a DM, do whatever you want. We will get back to you and figure that out. It's not too hard, but we would need to tell you how to do the process, or we could send you a little tutorial video or something like that. But yeah, feel free to hop into the Discord and start chatting with us, because not only is it for podcast questions, but we have a server called Footy Talk, which is just anything. So if there was a game that happened today and you wanted to ask us and some other fans what you thought about it, you could, and then people would get back to you. So it's just a place for the COG community to hang out. Moving on from the podcast questions, I kind of talked about it already, but Bayern were the first team to get the sextuple. They won or the second team ever to get the sextuple. They won the Club World Cup versus Tigres, the Liga MX team. So that's good to see from them. And then they just signed Upamecano from Leipzig, who is a phenomenal center back.
Yeah, next best thing. Next best center back.
Next best David Alaba.
Yeah, as I mentioned before that we were going to talk about it, he has his around 40 million release clause that is due this summer. And I think it was Bayern, Chelsea, Manchester United were all interested, and Bayern won the race to that in the past couple of days. They signed him, so like you said, I think David Alaba could be on his way out. Where do you think he'll go? Arsenal? No, I think Real Madrid probably. Yeah. And then you could maybe see Sergio Ramos come in to the end as well. Yeah,
Juventus, somewhere else. We talked about that last week, but just Bayern strengthening their team even more. They now have Alphonso Davies and Upamecano, two young, very, very good defenders. Still have Jerome Boateng, Nicolas Sula, some pretty good players. So yeah, they're set. They're fine. Moving past that, Zlatan surpassed 500 club career goals, an insane number. And him, Messi, and Ronaldo are the only three players currently actively playing that have done that. So, crazy stuff. Makes sense, though. And Zlatan's been playing for 1,000 years. So,
who would you take out of those three if you wanted a goal scorer?
At what time? Right now?
In their prime. All of them in their prime.
Messi
in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had the thing.
Right now, I'd take Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, yeah, I think so.
But, I mean, it's a close call between Zlatan and Ronaldo. Messi's not a goal scorer as much right now. I mean, he scored, 2 goals the other day, but he's not a flat-out goal scorer. And I don't know, we talked about this last week. I don't know if he would take away more than he would give to the team. He everything would be relying so much on him that it might hurt the team. But, I mean, Messi in his prime. Messi scored 90 goals in a season.
That's true.
Of course.
That's true.
I would want him. Moving past that, Xavi Simons had his PSG debut. He has been, what does he have? 2.5 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is, he's been kind of the wonder kid that's not really, I mean, he's been so young. He's had a following since 12 years old.
Yeah, he was 12 and there was millions of people.
He was at Barca.
Him, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's at Barca, and there's those videos in the U14 games where you dribble the whole team. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's next up," and then he's just kind of been on his own, kind of working, and then transferred to PSG, which he has gotten his debut finally. He's 16, 17. So
he's the same age as me.
Yeah. So I mean, it is kind of a long time coming when you think about how long he's been in the spotlight, or kind of thought about as the next best player.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because he's got so much of a following that it almost feels like a letdown when he's debuted for PSG and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
Right? So
why didn't you dribble the whole team?
Exactly, which is understandable. He's 17 years old. He's debuted for PSG. He's still going to be a good player. I mean,
do you know what position is he?
He's
attacking
mid. Yeah.
Okay.
When have we ever seen a wonder kid that's not an attacking mid?
It's true.
They'll transfer wing or striker, but they'll start at attacking mid always. But yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He'll do well in his career, but I don't know. It's hard because he has so much pressure. And then finally, moving past that, looking ahead to next week's Champions League. First thing to talk about is that Man City's clash with Borussia Mönchengladbach has been moved to Budapest, of all places, due to a new strain of COVID emerging in England. And this could affect the Chelsea versus Atletico Madrid game, which is also taking place in England. But I think that's the second leg, so they're going to wait and see if they can get it under control. But the first leg of Man City versus Gladbach is in Manchester, so they moved it to Budapest, which is just, I mean, it's good that they're getting it in. It doesn't really matter because no one's there, but it's just odd. Why would you go to Budapest?
I feel like, why wouldn't you just go to France or somewhere close by? Yeah. It's we're going to Canada for this game, actually. You're going to have to fly across the world. I mean, yeah, good to have it back. I was just talking to you before the pod started about, like, I don't remember the break from Champions League being this long, but it has been from around November to February. That little break there has been the same way for, what, every year?
Yeah, no, it's every year. It's always November to February. They always play the group stage games, and they take a break, and then they come back in February. And it's because, I think it's because of the congestion of games that happen around Christmas.
Yeah.
So they can't keep playing. But also, there's not enough. So you play 6 group stage games, and if you win everything, 4 or 5. So it's 10 or 11 games in total. And if you stretch that across a 9-month period, you're playing like 1 game a month. So they have to have those breaks. And I think they like to... I actually think it's smart because when the group stages are happening, there's always group stage games on, right? You're not just... It's not like, oh, there's one happening this week and then another one happening next week. It's like, okay, they're all happening now. You know, they're gonna happen for a couple weeks. And they're not very spread out. So you can focus on the Champions League. And then once it comes back, like in a week, we're gonna have Champions League every week for 5 weeks, which is going to be so fun. You know, you have to admit the days of coming home from school pre-COVID, and I mean now even with everyone being back, but the days of coming home from school and turning on a Champions League game are sorely missed.
They'll be back.
Yeah, they'll be back soon. A week. I'm very excited. But yeah, I mean they all take place at like 2:00, so you know. Pretty much watch them at the end of class and on the way home.
Well, I mean, looking at these round of 16 matchups, there's some very interesting games. Usually it's not that great of matchups at the very start, but one that sticks out to me is PSG Barcelona. Like, well, it's freezing now.
For some reason the computer froze.
Well, obviously Neymar is now injured for the game, which, you know, the running joke that isn't really a joke, it's just a fact now, is that he is injured every year for his sister's birthday.
Yeah, he goes and celebrates his birth or his sister's
without
birthday.
fail, the past
every single year.
I don't know how many years, he has always gotten a like more than 4-week long injury at this time when his sister's birthday is.
Yeah. No, every single time. The games
it's just so odd.
The games I'm gonna run through, right? So I'll just run through them all, and then so we have RB Leipzig, Liverpool. It's actually gonna be an interesting game considering Liverpool's previous form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be interested in that. Barca PSG, huge matchup. Sevilla Dortmund, Porto Juventus, Atletico Madrid Chelsea, Lazio Bayern, Atalanta Real Madrid, and Gladbach City. The ones I'm most looking forward to are Porto Juve, Atletico Madrid Chelsea, and PSG Barca. And
Why Porto Juve?
I love Porto.
Really?
Dude,
do you think
such a sick team.
Do you think they'll beat Juve?
No, but I love. They're
you just want to watch them.
They're the ones I'm rooting for. Like, you know how every year there's that Ajax team or something.
Yeah.
Even when Ajax was in like their fabulous form 2 years ago and they went so far, Porto was my team that year that I was rooting for. Pepe got the red card in that game against like Real Madrid or something. But yeah, I love Porto. And I think it's partially because they won the Champions League with Jose Mourinho like 10 years ago or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it's just a great club, great badge, great everything. I love their kits. You know, something about them.
I could, well, for Leipzig, for me, I'd say that's probably the equivalent. Is I could definitely see them beating Liverpool. I would not be surprised. And I like their kits. I like their logo. Yeah, I could see Leipzig, Porto, or Lazio all being. I don't know. Sevilla, could they be the?
Sevilla's too much of a Europa League team. Obviously, they can't go back to the Europa League now. It's too late.
Yeah, but
they qualify. Did you see all the like tweets and memes? So Sevilla actually put out on their Twitter. They were like, the biggest disappointment about advancing to the Champions League round of 16 is that we can't win the Europa League for a 7th time in a row.
They are the Europa League team. Which, I mean, I would definitely rather be winning the Europa League every year than getting to the round of 16 and losing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they should be exciting matchups. Hopefully we do get some upsets.
Yeah, no, as a hardcore football fan and football player, I am very, very excited for this next week. I'm not going to lie. And you guys all should be too. The first game takes place February 16th, 2 days away. That is extremely
Tuesday
good.
at 2.
Yeah, Tuesday at 2 Central Time for all of our listeners in America. And yeah, so super excited to see that first game. That one will be RB Leipzig versus Liverpool and Barca PSG.
Great way to start it off.
Will both be happening at Tuesday at 2. I'll probably be watching Barca PSG. If you guys don't know, get and is it CBS All Access? That'll give you access to those games. I think it's like $4.99 a month. I'd prefer it if you became a patron, but we can't give you access to Champions League games.
Yes, we can. We will promise inside access to all Champions League games if you do subscribe, and we can get you tickets to all the games.
But yeah, I mean, we'll be talking about those next week. And other than that, it's been the Class on Grass podcast, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
See ya.